Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a very exciting one. This is Firestone Walker's 25th anniversary, 2025 vintage of their anniversary ale, and this is a 29th anniversary for them. So congratulations, 29 years, almost 30. That is crazy. Firestone Walker, good for you. I've been enjoying your beers for 15 years now, something like that. Yeah, very exciting. More information inside? Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, they have a little slip inside. So if you guys don't remember, this used to come in bombers. How this beer works is that it is a, if you want to skip ahead to the review, please do. How this beer works is that they're in Paso Robles, which is Central Florida, wine country. It's not really beer, well, I guess nowhere is really actually beer country, well, unless you go to Europe, or Vermont, or some states, I guess, or some cities, I guess. But that's wine country. So what they thought was, hey, let's get a bunch of the winemakers in our region, invite them over. Let's let them blend a bunch of our barrel stock, and then let's vote on the best one. And every year we're gonna keep doing that and make a blend every year, right? Get a little whole to do with that. I'm actually not quite sure if I've ever reviewed one for you guys, but I've definitely had a few. Gee, okay. You know what? I'm gonna give Firestone the respect. I'm just gonna do a quick. Matt Brindleson has a whole story. I'm not going to read that all for you guys. I'm sorry, but... Okay, so the blending project started in 2006. This year they offered 8 different beers to be blended by the wine people, because wine is very much about blending, not only the cultivation and the winemaking. Niels Udson of Castoro Cellars with veteran Pete Schlossberg and his guest Bob Garcia. It is 67% stout, 33% barley wine. Whoa. All to do to... All right, so this is more useful. The beer, talk about the tasting notes. I'm going to skip that and compare and contrast. And then they'll blend here. So every late summer, the wine harvest, they get the blenders come in, da-da-da-da-da. So this is 32% parabola. Just more information about it. So they talk about what barrels there are, the beer details about the imperial stout, the original gravity, final gravity, the color. They talk about parabola, 12 to 6 months, blah, blah, blah. A little bit of tasting notes, the hops in there. So all this information, which I love. 32% parabola, 20% Velvet Merkin, which is their, it's not a big beer. That beer is like 5.5%, comes out as 9%. Wow. So it's a 9% barrel-aged milk stout. And then they have 50% of the blend is Frau Gruber, which I guess is their non-adjuncted barrel-aged pastry stouts. It's a collaboration with actually Heavy Souls, so I didn't actually know that existed. Eldorado, I've had that before. That's a blonde barley wine, 15% of that. DDBA, I've had that before. That's a imperial special bitter, like it's a British-style ale that they make, and they barrel-age that. That's 10% of the blend. Sticky Monkey, I've had that before. That is a barrel-aged quad, 5% of that. And then Bravo, 3% of that, which is a imperial brown ale. So it's mostly stout. Mostly stout, which I'm very excited for. With a little bit of... So, yeah. Oh, sorry. 15% Eldorado, which is their blonde barley wine. So mostly stouts, because that's 50, 60, 70% stout. And then some barley wine and a little bit of stuff to finish it out. They're joined by a bunch of winemakers here. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry for the long spiel, but again, thank you so much, Firestone Walker, for sending this one. Really appreciate it. And I'm super, hyped to try this out. So, yeah, I mean, look at that. That beer comes in a beautiful, almost pitch black color. I mean, maybe not as dark as Bourbon County, but that's very dark. That's full dark. And I even have this nice kind of Bourbon County kind of snifter thingy. It's a Spiegelau, but yeah, perfect for this style beer. So Wonderful dark beer, dark head on that. Oh yeah. That is bourbon, vanilla. Sorry, I have the football games going in the background. I'm trying not to get distracted by that, but yeah, it's woody, smoky, a little bit of char tobacco. Big bourbon character. The big thing I smelled up front was just that big woody char chocolate note. Reminds me a little bit of like just straight Parabola, maybe a little bit of KBS, maybe a little Bourbon County too. Yeah, a little bit of Bourbon County, a little bit of that kind of like just rich, bourbony, sticky, caramel sweetness, almost creme brulee, right? It's a combination of like bourbon and char, the sweet character of bourbon, right? The sweet character of bourbon, char, and then like the malts underneath, right? So you get cocoa, chocolate, espresso, toffee. Oh man, it smells amazing. Excuse me. How big is this guy? 12.3. Yeah. See, that's like when you go barrel aged out. Like, don't give me a 9% guy. Like, hit me with 12 to 15, 14, 12 to 14, right? Around what Bourbon County hits. 14, 15 is what Bourbon County usually hits, around 14. I'm gonna say so. 12%. Yeah. Oh, a little bit of nuttiness in there. This beautiful kind of like almond, hazelnutty praline thing in there as well. Oh, jeez. It's fudgy. It's rich. It's bourbony. It's warm it up a little bit. Ow. Ow. Oh. Wow. I'm going to be honest. Not to put down Firestone Walker's barrel program. I've always been a Bourbon County boy. This period is the best Firestone Walker barrel aged beer I've ever had. Not even close. Oh my god. My god. Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah. So up front, it's just the complexity. I've always found Firestone beers just to be a little bit more lean and elegant. This is a rich guy. I want to say that 15% of Frau Gruber is huge. It's probably got. What are we doing on this guy? So regular Parabola starts as a 34 Plato beer. The Frau Gruber starts at 40, ends at 20. And then the final gravity for the Parabola is 10 basically. So the beer is like finishes like double the gravity of Parabola, which makes sense. I mean, you need something that big to really hold up and make such a big rich imperial stout, and like they've gotten there. Wow. Flavors up front, it's just big rich bourbon character, vanilla for days, char, tobacco, wonderful rich bourbony sweetness. The chocolate comes in, a little bit of like semi-sweet chocolate, dark chocolate, espresso bitterness comes in. The woody tannins help dry out the beer. As you wait more, alcohol, bourbon keeps hitting. Whoa, man. Echoes. Doesn't quite have the mouthfeel. Like, again, like, to do use of vernacular and communicate to you guys, it doesn't quite have the mouthfeel of Bourbon County, but this is pretty close. Think of a slightly leaner, a little bit less sweet Bourbon County. I will say, excuse me, there is a lot of vanilla sweetness in here. Without the addition of that, the barrels are just expressing so much vanilla sweetness. So it final gravity wise, it's obviously like a bourbon barrel aged stout. There's obviously high amount of residual sweetness to this beer left over, but it's not as sweet as, I'd say Bourbon County just comes off a little bit sweeter, just a little bit more thick, a little bit more mouthfeel, a little bit more sticky. But the amount of vanilla in here really wants you to think that this beer is just that sweet. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, let's go one more roll with the tasting notes, and I want to compare it to theirs. Char, wood, bourbon. Oh. vanilla, just tons of vanilla in this guy. Again, I would, full blind, I would have guessed this was a barrel aged vanilla stout. Yeah, so much vanilla to this guy. But it's just the beauty of their barrels and how much they're able to extract from the vanillins and all that stuff from the bourbon barrel, right? Oh my god. Mouthfeels medium plus to full. Big alcohol bourbon character. Rich. I mean, this is up there with what, you know, in my opinion, bourbon barrel aged imperial stout should taste like it. So really, despite the blend of these other ingredients, there's like 15% of a blonde barley wine. There's a 10% of a imperial special barrel aged imperial special bitter. There's almost 10% of like of combined between the quad and the imperial brown ale. You almost don't taste any of that. That is crazy. I would never guess that this was an Firestone anniversary beer, because again, it's really only 65, only really 65% of this is stout. But I would have just full on guessed it was all stout. So, I don't know if it's a bad thing that I feel like a lot of the other components are hidden, but I personally prefer it. A lot of times I found the anniversary beers to be non-barrel aged imperial stouts. You know, they throw in a lot of like there's examples that I've had where there's a lot of brown in there, there's a lot of quad in there, there's a lot of blonde barley wine in there, there's a lot of barley wine in there, right? Especially when they used to produce Sukaba. So it was some kind of like big brown barrel aged beer. This is, in my opinion, clearly a barrel aged imperial stout. Despite what they blended in here, it is full blind I would have guessed a bourbon barrel aged vanilla imperial stout. Finishing blend is black walnut, legs like wine. This is their tasting notes. Initial aromas of chocolate-covered cherry and creme brulee. Flashback. Did I not say creme brulee? But yeah. And I didn't even read this. I just looked at the fact that they had tasting notes here. Chocolate-covered cherry. I could certainly see that. Enticing boozy spirit. First sips reveal cocoa, vanilla, caramel candy, with a touch of cherry. Interesting. They're finding dark fruit in this guy. Yeah, maybe a little bit. More, not too much cherry, but more cordial. Like more of that boozy cordial thingy. As the beer opens, it warms. Marshmallow, graham crackers. Yep, all that desserty stuff. Again, I was saying, there's so much vanilla dessert character to this beer. Tobacco and molasses, absolutely. Luxuriously smooth. Unfiltered, unfine, so there's going to be some sediment in the bottom barrel. I didn't know that. Interesting. They tell you how to, enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah, they talk a little bit about, like, what they've added to the beer to, like, give complexity. Eldorado gives some light cherry accents and da-da-da-da. There's a lot of information on this guy. This beer is freaking fire. I'm going to slowly sip on this. This is easily going to be one of the best barrel-aged beers they're going to have all year. I can't imagine. I mean, Peter sent me some beer from Denmark, but this is going to have to be a top 3 imperial stout. Granted, I don't really review that many like barrel-aged stouts. Yeah. So this is gonna be a top 3 for the year for at least barrel-aged stout or stout category or whatever. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. For me, honestly, I could see it a little less vanilla-y. I don't know what's giving the so much of that desserty character. It could be that Frau Guba or something. It could be a little less sweet, but then also have a little bit more. How do I describe this? It could have a little bit more actual sweetness and thickness on the palate, and a little less impression of sweetness. Whatever is giving these kind of like, what do they describe it as? Graham cracker and marshmallow. That kind of artificial desserty thing, if that was pulled back a little bit more and this was a little bit more roasty, espresso-y, a little bit more thick and chewy, that would be my platonic ideal. Therefore, 99 plus. 99 plus. This is absolutely amazing. Shout out to Firestone Walker. Yeah, that's the period best period barrel aged beer I've had from Firestone Walker. Period. Thank you so much for sending this one in. Absolutely amazing. Cheers.